The dictionary defines the term luxury as extravagance or ease and comfort. When it comes to this current generation Lexus GX460, I tend to apply the latter definition, what I call comfort and convenience. In fact, we just took out this Lexus GX460 here off-road in some bad weather after not having driven it for about a week. In other words, we drove our minivan, our Toyota Sienna, which is brand new too. And we haven't driven this for like a week, and it's remarkable to see what this luxury or comfort and convenience, as I call it, does for the driver. Today, I'm going to talk about this term luxury for those of you interested or maybe on the fence about getting a luxury car or a luxury SUV, especially a Lexus. I'm going to talk about what that term actually means in the real world. And it's not that earlier definition, that former definition of luxury, which is extravagance. It's something which is way more important, and I think it could help your well-being, your health, and your overall life. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Okay, what is luxury? It's not extravagance. So when it comes to cars like this Lexus GX460, that's not what it is. I know that's kind of it is part of the term of luxury, but truly it's what I call comfort and convenience. Again, we just hopped in this Lexus after a week of not driving it. In other words, driving another car, a Toyota Sienna. And the first thing that hits you is just how comfortable and convenient this car is. So we're going to talk about how that can benefit your life, whether you're on-road or off-road or both, in order to help you decide whether a luxury car is for you or a luxury vehicle is for you. First, we have to accept that what Lexus is trying to do with their luxury cars is not bedazzle you or amaze you with some sort of tech or extravagance or some sort of bells and whistles. Instead, they're trying to do a much more human version of luxury. In other words, they want to make your life more comfortable and easier. Now, what that means to you is, in my opinion, you're generally going to be healthier, happier, you're going to have better well-being, and live a better life. I got it. All that sounds corny, and that may not apply to many people, but let's talk as objectively as possible with this subjective subject to see if any of this makes sense. First, I'll go over what I felt when I jumped into this car after a week of driving a, quote, non-luxury car, a very well-built Toyota Sienna, actually. We hopped in this, and the first thing you notice is how quiet it is. So if quiet and noise is important to you, then you're definitely going to want to consider a luxury vehicle. Now, of course, such things such as noise pollution is not absolutely necessary, but it is something that wears on you over time, having to hear road noise or the outside environment. And when you're in this car, due to the soundproofing, the sound deadening, and the triple thick glass on all sides, the sound levels, literally the measured decibels, are extremely reduced. And that results in overall enjoyment and ease and comfort. Now, this is going to make sense in a second because we're going to try to imagine every little thing that I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk about every little thing, don't worry, I'll group them. But every little group of things that I talk about or I mention here in a second is going to be like how 100 pennies add up to $1. And that's going to be the main idea here. There's not going to be any one, quote, luxury feature that's going to make or break or wow you or anybody that gets a luxury car into this new, magical universe. Okay, that's not what it's about. It's not this home run or grand slam hit. It's a cumulative amount of little things or pennies that add up to this $1 bill. So when you take into consideration the noise deadening, the heated seats, the power mirrors, the memory seats, so it can remember two people, the heated steering, the auto dimming mirror, all these so-called gimmicks And again, I'm not going to list all of them. You know what they are. It's a bunch of junk that you think is junk at first, and you think, I don't need that. I remember the days of roll-up windows, and that's all I need. Just give me power steering, and I'm good to go, right? Cruise control, radar cruise control, the parking sensors, the backup camera. You know what it is. So again, these are those little pennies that add up to this giant $1 bill. And you don't realize it until you hop in this thing like we did after a little bit of a break, and you go, man, I feel better after going for this short ride, this medium ride, this long ride. And you just realize that it does have an effect on you. Maybe not everybody. Some people like the noise, some people like that raw feeling of hearing the engine, hearing the wind noise, the vibration, and roll up windows and dials on your radio, whatever. But do realize that I think the vast majority of people would benefit holistically from having little itty-bitty annoyances or little, shall we say, small pains removed from their life. So a philosopher once said, and I can't quote him right now, I forget who it was, but a philosopher once said that happiness is not adding pleasure. Instead, happiness is removing pain. So when we talk about what this does for people, what these luxury cars do for people, as it relates to the philosophy, it's the kind of the inverse of that penny adding up to $1. Think of it also as removing little itty-bitty annoyances in your life. And as the philosopher said, as we shave off every little bit of thing you don't like, no matter how small, and that's the key point of this philosophy, no matter how infinitesimal something is in your life that you don't enjoy, just removing it has an effect on you. You may not realize it, but if you remove so many of these little itty-bitty things that you don't like, or these little annoyances, it adds up to be essentially happiness according to this philosophy. That's what I believe is going on with this luxury car, in particular the Lexus, and all luxury cars in general. You have to bring it back to what it's all about, and that is the latter definition of comfort and ease. When we talk about things like the auto wipers on this car, so I just took this thing, it rained a bunch yesterday, so I took it off-road, and it was these big splash puddles, and I just drove through the puddles, splashed through it just fine, and mud and gunk went all over the windshield, and without hitting a button, the auto wipers just wiped for me. Silly, right? Goofy, a gimmick, right? But is it? Because it just put a smile on my face, and I felt so good afterwards, because that feature, along with all the other little pennies or all the other little pains that I didn't think I had shaved off of my life, you realize this holistic, better experience. So when you hop out of the car on your way to work or on your way to your commute or shopping or wherever it is you're going in your life, even off-road, whatever it is you're doing, you just overall feel better. Now, you can agree with this philosophy or not. I didn't invent it. Whoever this philosopher is, sorry, I can't quote it, the person, but I'll put it in a subtext here. But that is the philosophy behind comfort and convenience luxury, which Lexus does phenomenally. Now you might say, doesn't Mercedes do this, blah, blah, blah? Yes, they do a great job. You know that the whole point behind the Lexus luxury is that it lasts. We all remember the old school GM days, or the Cadillac days, where they had all sorts of luxury, but it didn't last. And so what that did is actually made anti-luxury, because it's nothing more of a pain in the butt than having luxury features, and when you go in to use them after a few months, they don't work. And so those luxuries become liabilities. There used to be an old saying, you know, I want a simple car because it's less stuff to break. That's the old school way of thinking. That's the GM, Ford, Chevy, Mercedes way of thinking when they made clunky, unreliable luxury. This Lexus is built, as you know, to the highest standards, period, as far as durability, reliability, and longevity. So now add that luxury, that comfort and convenience with luxury, and I think that you're just going to have a better day. So at the risk of sounding like a hippie here, if you're on the fence about luxury, getting a luxury vehicle, why would I get this over a 4Runner or its non-luxury equivalent? Consider how it's going to honestly affect your life. I promise you the little stuff adds up, whether you add the pennies to $1 or you're taking away little bits of pain at a time. It's going to add up to make your life, no matter what your lifestyle is, I do believe it's going to add up cumulatively to make your life absolutely better and make you a better person. So again, I know I'm sounding like a hippie, but try it.
Nothing divided from the century of the cool cat. Deep down with the clean of the hi-hat. Lift up face and then they knocking on my door. I've been feeling the boom. This is really after 4. The rest of what that core was really just for. Yo, break out the sword and let's go cruising in your Ford. Watch out, yeah, sweet snow is the deal. As she shouted, it's the funky lesson 1 to the grill. I should have known that something wasn't right in walking. The biggity boom was just ticking and clocking. A night boy in plaid is passed from his dad. Another straight in the fight, man, but he wasn't from the right clan. Stop all the nonsense, defenses, my defense. Oh yeah, I know the motor's daily tense. Time has passed on, but it's been a million days. We're still knifed and divided, running round in haze. Nothing divided. Nothing divided from the century of the cool cat. Deep down with the cling of the hi-hat. Flip that bass and then they knocking at my door.